So
I'm going to move on to story number 4. So you guys, this story is really, it's kind of crazy because apparently there's a hacker who leaked the personal data of 1 billion Chinese citizens. Now, censors are blocking victims of the breach from learning from happened. What's interesting about this story is that apparently this exploit happened. Oops, excuse me. Apparently, this exploit happened because the government, I'm guessing, GOV developer wrote a tech blog on CSDN and accidentally included all the credentials, 1 billion records of private citizens' data. What do you guys have
So
to say about
I'm gonna give comment first, real quick, if you don't mind.
course.
Everybody else, feel free to fill in. But I saw this actually probably before we saw it. I was very surprised. This was fascinating to me. It was definitely a big breach to me. I didn't know how much data it included, but I felt like it was big.
I mean, a billion records is always a big breach. A billion records all from China. I mean, that's massive. Frank, have you seen this data? Because I've not seen it floating around. It sounded like a developer accidentally exposed it, but are people actually actively sharing it?
I've just seen the original post on Breached, which was for sale, and a couple of samples.
So if it's still for sale, we're not going to see a big impact from it. But once it's being shared publicly, this is going to be a big deal. Because
this is, to me, the first breach I've seen that's been big enough that I've seen it show up on CNN, all the different news articles, which doesn't make a big difference, but I was surprised at how big it was.
The Marriott breach got a lot of coverage. So I was in New York.
So can you describe that? Like, what's the difference between like something that gets a ton of coverage and something?
So the Marriott breach was like 150 million, but it was all in the US, right? And
right,
it's potentially people that are higher economic status, right? So famous people, high profile people, and it was all of their data, like all of their stay data at Marriott. And so that got a ton of coverage. I was traveling at the time. I was in New York on a train, and everyone around me starts talking about Marriott. And I was like, what did I miss? And so it was the Marriott breach. So there have been times that breaches have gotten a lot of coverage. There have also been times that data leaks have gotten a lot of coverage, where like collections 1 through 5 got a bunch of coverage a long time ago. But yeah, I mean, like a billion's a number that's going to sell views. But I think the devil's in the details about like what was included and what could people do with it. But yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of 3-letter agencies that are perfectly happy to take in 1 billion records about Chinese citizens. So